must be nice to have coffee right now. I wish I
It
had
does.
time in the morning to make coffee before we met up.
See, coffee takes off. You'd be surprised by that, Kevin, how much what my contract demands. I need my coffee before each podcast. So, on that note, welcome back to Not a Strong Start, a podcast by filmmakers who talk movies, television, and have outlandish contract demands. I'm your host, Blue M&Ms.
I am not your host. Where's my trailer?
I'm Kevin Lyons. I didn't come up with a fancy name.
It's in his contract that
It's
he
in my
doesn't have to
contract.
come up with the names.
With all this contract talk, we might as well keep it going. So, in this week's episode, we're going to talk about the weirdest contract demands by actors or actresses in the industry. First, we're going to hit them with the current event.
WB has some issues during the pandemic, and they kind of alienated a lot of the directors and companies and stuff because of their strategy. One of them being Christopher Nolan. And so WB right now, they're in the process of trying to get back in Christopher Nolan's good graces because they had a fruitful partnership dating back all the way to 2002. So recently, they actually cut him a 7-figure royalty check for Tenet in good faith because of, I guess, the money Tenet might have lost out on because they did I believe they did the double release on the HBO Max on top of the theater. And we know Christopher Nolan was very vocal about straight to streaming releases that they were doing.
What was their feud in the first place? What was going on?
It was basically their pandemic strategy where WB chose to release all their big movies on HBO Max during that 2020 or 2021 timeframe, including Christopher Nolan's Tenet. Even though it came out in the theater, they released it the same day. Yeah, so that was the main thing. He was one of the outspoken ones about movies should go to the theater, and his movies were meant for the theater. So that kind of broke their relationship a little bit.
I mean, it's capitalism. Are we going to make money throwing it in the theater right now? Or how is the best way to make money to get it? So, I mean, I hear this and I just hear rich people problems, and I don't care about rich people problems. We got to see it. But I always like to hear good things in movies, I guess. So if they're trying to, I mean, Nolan's a great filmmaker, so if they're healing up that whatever feud they had, I just sank a little bit, my chair broke. If they can heal that up, I think it would be great because I saw the trailer for Oppenheimer and I'm like stoked for that. That looks really good.
I know Nolan he films for like theater experiences, but we're kind of like stuck in this weird era right now where you have some like the older head filmmakers where you have like the Scorseses, the Tarantinos, the Nolans, the Spielbergs that demands you watch these movies in movie theaters. And then you have like the large majority of filmmakers now that are sort of filming for streaming services. So we're kind of stuck in this little middle bubble right now where you have like, and maybe a lot of it has to tie in with like budgets, because you figure if they're filming it for the theater experience, they tend to get higher budgets. So they're able to do more things with their film sets. Maybe that's what Nolan's kind of dealing with a little bit, where if he knows that they're just going to be putting it on streaming platforms, then his budget's essentially going to get cut. They're going to have to use a lot more CGI that maybe not want to use. So
that makes sense.
No, and I agree with that. In Nolan, he films and he uses technology to film his movies meant for the theaters. Like Oppenheimer is, filmed IMAX. So it's like it's meant for that medium. Overall, I mean, I think it's a good move on WB. WB was down bad, pretty much with their decision makings, and then we have the merger, and that hasn't been 100% overall. And like I said, they alienated directors. So losing Christopher Nolan, who's pretty much an A director in the industry, that's a big loss. And I know they're already. The company that's behind like the King Kong and Godzilla and stuff, they already moved on to someone else, I think with Sony, to have Sony as like a distributor because of the decisions WB made. So, they need to recover some of these relationships for their future success. So it's smart on their end. And then Christopher Nolan's, he's getting some extra cash in there so it doesn't hurt him.
But sometimes I just like to watch the world burn, dude. So like, I love it when the studio fucks up. I'm like, ooh. what they do? Ah,
Yeah.
It makes you think.
drama.
Yeah, man, because Hollywood's supposed to be like the sacred small town, right? And you're supposed to have like the elite that are working for these studios. So when you see them continuously fumble the bag and trip over their own feet, it's like, this is the best you can get?
Yeah, I laugh.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. I
Mhm.
didn't
Yes,
mind it.
especially if they throw so much money into a movie
Yeah.
and it's just like the entire team is just the most professional people and talented people, and then you see the movie and you're just like, that was it. That's the best that they could do.
Mhm.
I'm like, all right. I love
Someone
seeing
effed
that.
up somewhere.
Yep.
I know maybe if they do decide to work together again, maybe Nolan has put into his contract that they has to go to theater first, and there has to be a time frame before it can go to streaming.
I could see that. Yeah, they'll
I
probably
could say,
have that.
I do love saving the art of actually going out to the movies. I think that's a very important part of movie watching. That was one of my favorite things, is going to the movies. So I understand him wanting to save that experience in that aspect. And especially if you're making a movie that's designed specifically to be viewed in theaters, like, I'll support that. I get that. And they should always concentrate and try to fix that.
Mhm.
It does make a difference. Dunkirk itself, I watched it in the theater,
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed it, good experience in the theater. Watched it at home, didn't enjoy it as much. That movie was meant to be experienced in the theater.
That's how I feel about Oppenheimer, kind of is, right? Because he's even telling you where to sit in the theater to hear the best sound experience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
I gotta buy tickets to that one.
yeah,
I saw the trailer for that last night in the theater, and I
it
was
was fun.
stoked. I'm like, that I think that's gonna be an excellent movie.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm hoping so, man, because this year, Jose and I have covered it somewhat on our Stay Tuned show, but there's been a lot of movies that have been coming out and they're not quite hitting the mark
Yeah.
as we kind of hoped. And I'm really hoping Oppenheimer's the one where it's like, man, that's even better than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get some of that. But
Good.
all right, let's get to our main topic then. So we're gonna talk about the most weird, outlandish requests on actors' demands for movies.
All right. We'll start off first. Start off with our boy, Samuel Jackson.
Mhm.
Samuel Jackson has had put into his contracts that he has the option to go golfing about twice a week during during production, and production covers the golfing. And
Ooh.
that's one of the things that he's had put in his contract, on top of also having some control over certain aspects of his characters, or what gets kept in and what does not get kept in there. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Let's start with you on this one, Dan.
I immediately thought of Black Snake Moan. So like him in character dressed like that going to the golfing range and swinging. I didn't even know Samuel L. Jackson plays golf. So the fact that he has this high demand for it, like, okay.
What if he doesn't? I don't think he does play golf. That's just his demand on there. You have to make it available.
Just in case he ever gets the inkling to go golfing, he wants it in there.
He just wants the opportunity because it's like, it's a rich man's sport. I just want the opportunity to be able to play it.
I also didn't know that he played golf, or at least was that avid of a lover of golf, to the fact that twice like a week and the production covering it. But from what I read, I guess sometimes he's such an avid fan of it that he'll play like 36 holes in like a day in there.
Jesus.
Yeah. And I don't really know golf that well, but that sounds like a lot.
That's
But when you're that
twice.
rich and that, like, dude, I'm just gonna play golf all day. And my
Yeah.
dad golfs all the time. Every time I call home and I
Mm.
talk to my mom, I'm like, "Where's dad?" She's like, "He's golfing. He golfs all the time." And when you said that, Jose, that reminded me of Joe Pesci. I think Joe Pesci was doing that on the set of Home Alone. I think he got into a fight with the director because he kept on giving him call times before like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's when he was golfing. And he he literally went and grabbed the guy by the collar and brought him into the producer's office. He goes, "Change my call time, because I gotta go golfing." So Joe Pesci was actually doing that on the set too. But I understand Samuel wanted to have some control over his characters, because at this point he's a brand and you have
Yeah.
to control your brand. So I understand that. But in golf, I mean, that's not that outlandish, but I think it's more surprising that we didn't know that he played golf.
Yeah. There's been like no mention ever, as far as I know. Never knew he played it. Why hasn't he
Just
played a
in,
character that played golf? That's my question.
It seems like he's the one who would make fun of people playing golf. Like he'd
He
make fun of white
does.
people for playing golf.
maybe it's like that what was that, the Mark Wahlberg movie where he learns to dance to make fun of people who dance. So he does that ironic. So Samuel Jackson just learned golf and he golfers just to make fun of golfers.
That makes
That's
sense.
funny.
I buy
That
it.
does make sense.
I'd buy that more than him having a cult than in his contract to be able to play golf twice a
Yeah.
week.
Snakes on the
Yeah.
golf course.
Pulls it out of the bag. Whoa.
Just
So
imagine
cheesy.
all the MFers he's dropping while he's golfing.
Yeah. They should
Uh,
do it like they should have him do a Caddyshack movie. I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I see that one. I want Nick Cage in it too.
Just want Nick Cage and everything.
I want to see
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson and Nick Cage in a movie together.
Nick Cage could be the golfer.
He's like, shit.
All right, going from Samuel Jackson. Next one I have here is actually Queen Latifah.
Kev's already laughing.
Like literally, her name is Queen, so I'm not
yeah.
surprised that she might. What does she have on there? Off with her
So,
head.
yeah. So after the movie Set It Off, I don't know if you guys have seen Set It Off.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, she dies in that movie, and I guess she
Mhm.
was disappointed that she died. So she
Spoiler
started
alert.
having put into yeah. In case you haven't watched Set It Off, she dies. But she had put in her contract in her contracts going forward that her character can't die. Just in case there's a sequel, she isn't automatically ruled out from being able to be in the sequel. Obviously, she hasn't seen Fast and the Furious because that doesn't have to stop you if you die in the movie.
See, that would be like I would have the opposite in my contract. I'm like, I have to die in every movie I'm in, even if it's not an action or horror movie.
No,
You must
It's
kill
just
me.
a comedy. He had to die in it.
I
The
hate
Sean
people
Bean
so much.
contract, the Sean Bean one, where you have to die and everything.
Yeah.
It's ironic that she doesn't want to die in any of her movies, but yet we don't see her in a lot of movies anymore. Maybe they're hiring her to kill her. We don't know.
Maybe the demand to kill her was just too high, and now that they're not allowed to do it, they're just like, oh, we just want to kill her and everything.
They're like, well, what are you good for then?
Yeah. She was probably like, that's probably not the real reason why she doesn't want to die. She probably hated the way she looked while she died. I'm like, oh, I just can't die right. Can
Yeah.
never die good on camera.
Your die
She has
face
a
is
bad-
terrible.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Terrible dying face.
Yeah.
This next one, this is something I think we were all familiar with already. But it's Kit Harington when it came to Game of Thrones. This wasn't one of his demands, but this was put into his contract by the studio itself, where he wasn't allowed to cut his hair because the hair was a staple of his character in there. So until the show was done, he wasn't allowed to cut his hair.
I think that's stupid. Yeah, I mean, with the way that they have wigs these days too, I'm like, why? I understand, but like for like a show that's different. I mean, like you have so many episodes you have to be on there. Like for the entire series ever, like from beginning
Yeah.
from season 1 to season whatever they ended up on, he wasn't allowed to cut his hair.
I don't know if it was from season 1. I think it might have been added after his character became so popular, and then the hair became like a staple of the character that, you know, people wooed over.
That would drive me crazy because I hate it when I like it for like a week when my hair's a little bit long, and then I'm like, I gotta shave it off, I gotta cut it off. It drives me crazy. I'd be so mad if there was a contract that said you could never get a haircut.
It's been here for years. Like
I know.
It,
Nothing.
it reminds me, and this is, I don't know, isn't on my list, but I remember what's that comedian, comedic actor, she's in Pitch Perfect. She played Fat Amy, I think was her
Rebel
name.
Wilson.
Yeah,
Rebel
Rebel Wilson. I think I remember recalling in her contract for Pitch Perfect, she was not allowed to get out of this like small window of weight. So she, I guess, wanted to get healthier during that time, but she wasn't allowed to drop below a certain weight because of her character. They wanted her character at a certain weight.
That's
Fat
stupid.
Amy. She's not fat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I get that, but when you start to deal with like health health issues, that's where I'm like,
Yeah.
you should be able to break that. But I mean, I
Yeah.
understand if that's like the basis of her character is to be a heavier set woman, like that's why you were hired. Like that's we
Yeah.
needed that, you know?
Yeah, especially when it becomes a big staple. But like to talk about the hair, they I feel like they've done that before with like past TV shows. You know, you've always seen like the guy with the hair, right? Or like even
Yeah.
like I'm sure Rachel in Friends, you know, like Jennifer Aniston when she had like the hair, but then she changed it every few seasons as well. So who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
I get it for the identity of the character. Like I get it, man. It's just with you as an actor, I should ask both of you guys this. If your hair became that much of a staple where you couldn't cut it, do you kind of see that a little bit as like a knock where it's like, damn, like is that what my character represents? Like, is that all I am is just hair?
I mean, as long as the money keep coming in. I mean, like
I don't give it.
I'm not gonna fight it. Like if I'm working and they're like, you can't get your hair cut, and I'm like, every time I get that paycheck, I'm like, all right, all right, all right.
Yeah.
What if
Alright.
though, Kevin? They had you grow like a very long beard, but you had to shave your mustache and then shave your head, and you just looked ridiculous. But you had to have it for like 7 seasons.
Well, I think we should also establish that I always look ridiculous. But like I said, dude, money talks. You pay me and I don't gotta go do some stupid ass bullshit job and I'm running around on the golf course with looking ridiculous with my beard and bald head apparently. I would be okay with it. But if it was something that was more involved with my health, that's where I would actually be like, nah, I gotta, hey, listen, man, I had too much McDonald's this week. I can't be Fat Kev anymore. I gotta take care of myself. Change the character's description. Can he go through something too? Like, can he just have give me an 80s training montage? It's simple fix.
Yeah, medium size Kev.
Yeah,
For
medium
this
size
one.
guy. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think time frame matters too. I think I'm more. I mean, of course, financial. Give me a little extra bonuses for these claws, but I think time frame too. I think there's a difference doing it for a production of a movie, might be less than a year, and a show that goes multiple seasons, where now you're looking at years of whatever this clause is.
Mhm.
But the next one that I have here, I had to like double check this at multiple sources because I was like, nah, there's no way. But then the people involved, I was like, okay, yeah, I can believe it. Uh,
Ooh.
this is actually it was Vin Diesel, The Rock, and Jason Statham.
All have the
All
same
of
exact
them,
It's true. It's
yeah,
true. It's
yeah.
true.
Within the Fast and the Furious, sorry, they had it in their contract where basically, it had to be a limit amount of hits that they can take in a fight when they're like fighting each other. So pretty much no one looks better than the other. So at one point they even tried to develop a point system of like hits, like punches and kicks, so they can make sure that it's equal across the board. Whereas like, okay, you've done 15 points worth of hits, you got to do 15 points worth of hits.
Jesus.
But that's what they had for the movie and probably still have to this point. Then when I started watching the movies back, I started looking, I'm like, okay, it's rock, 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 getting a few hits. All right, Statham, now rock, 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 then Statham, but no one fully wins at all. So that one made me laugh. What do you guys think about that one?
And that reminds me of was it Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when they're talking that when Al Pacino's talking about how like the stars, like once they kind of reach their star point, you don't want them to be the what did he, I forget what
The
term he
heel
called
or
it.
whatever. Yeah, he had like a term for that, right? Like the
Yeah, a
bad guy
term
kind of.
to
Yeah.
the heavy.
Oh, the heavy.
Where
There
it's
you go.
just like the new good guy has to beat up this bad guy. And so it's always like the evolution of once you were a star leading man, you start to become the bad guy. So the new good guy can look better. So I can see I get the logic behind that, but different points for getting a hit. I mean, that just sounds like friendly bets with your friends, you know?
Yeah. Just imagine the ego that has to go into that
Yeah.
being like especially like on Vin Diesel then because isn't he's like a producer in the movie and everything. Like he's to be the fact like, no, I can't take more hits than those guys.
It's my franchise. Like, come on, man. Who cares? Who cares? You guys got 10 of these.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
not like they're ever gonna stop making them.
This one I had no idea about, but it's a Tom Cruise one.
I
And I
heard
think
some weird things about him.
yeah, well, he had in his contract, and I believe this was for the Mission Impossibles. It might be for all of them actually, but his likeness cannot be used for any merchandise, action figures, video game characters, or anything like that at all by the production company. I felt like that was weird because especially with action stars, usually they want to, try to profit outside of the movie itself through merchandising. But I guess he has a clause in his contract that does not allow them to do that.
He doesn't want anybody to put his likeliness toy inside of a butthole. Clearly,
Yeah,
that's what
right?
it is. I don't want my face in a butthole.
The toy was like 2 inches tall, shorter than all the other toys.
It comes with an Apple box.
I can't verify this, but I have heard stories of people who have worked for him or had to work at his house, and not even people who are like working as his assistant, but like coming to install like cable or do something. And they have to sign contracts when they go in there that they're not allowed to look into his eyes or to like converse with him at all. And you like, even if he talks directly to you, you have to reply to his like assistant or something like that. I don't know if that's true, obviously, and I don't like it when people spread false rumors, but I've heard that from like quite a few people out here who have personally had that experience. But I've also heard from people that said that he was just an amazing guy when they worked with him on set.
He's Medusa, man. You look at him and you turn a stone. Clearly.
What is this, like Nope? If you look him in the eyes, he's gonna attack.
Yeah, right, dude. Like,
he's like Farrell behind there.
What do you do? I would not stop laughing. I like if I read that contract, all of a sudden Tom Cruise came up to me and started talking to me. I'm like, am I not allowed to look at him? Who do I reply to?
Look at his shoes. Look at his shoes.
Yes. Hello. Okay. Like, look anywhere but his eyes.
What if you use
That's
a
the
mirror?
first thing I would do is I would just look directly in his eyes. Like
that. It's like the Indiana Jones
I'm not supposed
ride.
to do this, but you told me not to do something, and that's the only thing I want to do.
It's the Indiana Jones ride. You're not supposed to look at that thing and you stare right at it. Well, now we're all doomed.
Oh man, on the one that I can understand a little bit more and more feel good like contract is Danny Trejo, and he has put in his contract, that he must get all the tacos. No, I'm just kidding.
All the tacos. I was like, yeah,
dude, he makes good tacos.
Yes, he does. That's I miss that place. Yeah, so he's had put in his contract that when he's playing a criminal, he's required his character to be killed to show the consequences of crime.
Okay.
So he's never wanted to play a criminal that just gets away with things.
It's like, remember, kids, stay in school.
This is why he don't play with knives that he's showing us in Desperado.
What is your favorite villain that he's played?
Probably in Desperado.
That's a good movie, man.
Yeah, I have to agree there.
Salma Hayek. Ooh, I just saw the Black Mirror episode that she was on too. That first episode with Salma Hayek.
Oh yeah. For the next one, I got Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, okay.
Dolph Lundgren.
I think I just read about this too.
Yeah. So this is from when he was in He-Man, and I guess Dolph he struggled with lines. He struggles with remember lines and saying the lines. That was not his strength. So it was put in his contract that basically he had 3 chances to get the lines right, and if he couldn't get it in 3 chances, they were going to dub him over. They eventually allowed him to say his lines, but originally, that was their thought process. Be like, okay, this guy it's going to keep up lines, so let's put a cap on it, and then we'll just have someone else talk for him.
How is he a genius? Is he labeled a genius?
I mean, that seems. Hey, that's pretty easy. Like, I don't even have to say my lines correctly, and you guys are still gonna let me be He-Man. Okay, I don't care who talks over me. But I mean, if he wants to try it, is that how he learned English on the set of He-Man?
That's how he heard English on the set of He-Man.
I just want to wondering if it was a memory issue with the lines and just kind of recall issue, or was it just an English issue? Like, why was he struggling so much that they had to try to go to that measure just to have him do the movie?
You see, Masters of the He-Man. How difficult is I have the power? Like
power.
I am Power M.
How is he messing up that line? I want to see that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yep. Actually, with the Flash coming out recently, which had Batman, I think we should throw in Jack Nicholson. And actually, when he was filming Batman, he had in his contract that when they were filming in the States, he was allowed a time off to go to the Laker games when they were playing.
Yeah.
And when they were having to film internationally, no one can talk to him about the game until he watched the tape version that was provided to him. So no one on set can even mention the game until he watched it.
I mean, I understand that. I understand not wanting spoilers or anything like that. Especially, I know you guys watch a lot more sports than I do, but when I used to, I would not want to talk to anybody if I didn't know what the game was, the score was until I was able to watch it.
Yeah, same. I avoid my
And-
phone, so I
And
get it.
recently I rewatched it to get ready for the new movie. Doesn't really hold up as much as
Batman.
I wanted it to. I wanted to, and Jack Nicholson was just so weird. The things that he would they would let a camera go a take go longer, and he'd just be like, and he's just like doing weird things. I'm like, what is he doing? It's
Why
just
keep it?
It's
Why
just
keep
funny.
that,
Like
right?
rewatch it. When was the last time you watched Batman '89?
Ooh,
It's been a little while.
Dude,
Yeah, it's been
watch
a
it
while.
again. Watch it
Okay.
again.
I've watched Returns more often than the original.
Me too.
Yes.
Me too.
But some of it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to get through. I mean, not hard,
Yeah.
but like I don't even think I finished it. I think I had to go do something, or maybe I fell asleep.
You feel it's one of those movies that just being held up on pure nostalgia?
I would say so, and deservingly so. I mean, there was parts watching it I thought was really cool and was really fun, but then there's like all the in betweens to get to those parts. They're just kind of like, you guys acted like I just killed your dog.
Yeah.
Like-
I'm like, how? Well, there goes my childhood when I was 4.
Yeah. There you go. I'm no longer a Batman fan.
You can put on
Oh.
Wonder Man posters everywhere.
All right, for the next one, we got Uma Thurman, and this one I think was specifically for a movie she was gonna do called Eloise in Paris. I don't think the movie ended up happening, but she had in her contract that she needed a 3-bedroom suite. She needed 3 cell phones. Why 3? I don't know. I don't know what kind of side hustle she has. She had favorable dressing facilities. She had the best dressing facilities in there, and the ability to buy back any costume that she wears at 50% cost.
So she did the movie just so she can get discounted French clothing.
Yeah,
Got it.
much. She's like, this is the only way that I'm gonna do it.
Got
That's
it, man.
funny.
Well, clearly the side business was her selling Americans. Clearly that's what it is. Just doing human trafficking.
Why do you need 3 phones?
I
Like
know.
what?
One for each assistant.
There you go. I mean, that kind of stuff makes more sense, I guess, in terms of like, I need the 3-bedroom suite. I mean, she has kids, so maybe it has something to do with that. I mean, it could be housing her assistant. So I get it.
Yeah. It all makes sense. The only thing that stood out was the 3 cell phones. I'm like, why do
Yeah.
you need 2 burners to go with it? And then it's smart of her to do the 50% for the costumes. How many actors have we heard talking about that they wanted to keep, some of their costume and their stuff, and some even steal it and don't admit to it until years later, and all that. So she just put it right in, like, hey, I don't only want it back, but I want it at 50% cost.
Give me a discount. I'm losing money. I can't even keep the thing that I bought, and now I have to lose half of it.
Does that mean that costume designers like, I don't want to give them the good stuff? The good stuff, they're losing it.
Okay, Uma Thurman, sure, that it cost me $10 million to make this dress, so you can have it for 5.
They start getting all their costumes at like Ross and Marshall. The next one I have here, it's a feel good one because it was like, this is writing for your boy, pretty much. The definition of writing for your boy. And it's Gary Marshall. He's done a lot of acting, nothing major acting wise, mostly TV. But he's known mostly for being a writer. I think the Van Dyke Show, Lucy, like he wrote for a lot of those shows. But at one point he had put in his contract that he had the right to cast his friend Hector Elizondo on any project that he was part of. And I
Okay.
was like, that's like writing for your boy. It's like, okay, yes, you want me on, but I can cast my friend if I want to. It's my choice.
That's
like
some
Ron
like
Perlman.
Vinny Chase, Johnny Drama stuff right there
Yeah,
from Entourage, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
it,
think that's cool.
yeah. It does, man. Like I said, it reminds me like Ron Perlman and Guillermo del Toro. Where Guillermo
Yeah.
del Toro is just hiring Ron Perlman because nobody else seems to be doing it. He's doing
Exactly.
it. But I mean, that's cool, man. Like if he believes in him as an actor, and then you want to hook your boy up, sure, let him
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I got you guys written into my contracts. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it hasn't been signed by any studios or anything, but you're still in my contract.
Well, yeah, you're mine too. You have to give me a piggyback everywhere on set. That's that's how it goes.
Kevin, your spot is over there. Jose.
Yeah.
Just,
And you have to do the horse galloping sound while you're doing it.
and you got to wear the hands where it looks like the hooves.
I was there, or just wearing like tap shoes on my hands.
I mean, like, hey, if you'd be down for it, I would definitely, just for the ridiculousness of it. So somebody else on their podcast one day will talk about how ridiculous my contract was.
All right, for the next one, we have Nick Cage. And I think this was for the Sorcerer's Stone. And he had to have a octopus on set for a specific scene to give him inspiration for his character. And when I read this, I'm like, this is as Nick Cage as it gets for this scene. Like, I need inspiration. Bring me an octopus. I don't care where you get it from. Have him here.
Did you buy for 50% off discount?
Yeah, right.
He
He
put it
can
right
put
next
that
to his
octopus in
T-Rex
any
head.
one of his movies that he's in.
He just puts it down in his pants. Hold on, break. Give me a break.
I was like, that sounds like very Nick Cage. I'm like, is that real? And then I was like, I mean, this is the guy who decided to do drugs with his dog,
Cat.
right? Or was it his cat? With his cat,
Yeah.
just so they can experience it together. So I'm like, all right, yeah, this has to be legit.
Yeah.
Uh,
I buy it.
but the last one I have here is actually Roger Moore for his time as Bond.
Mhm.
He had in his contract where he was entitled to unlimited Monte Cristo cigars
There you
while he
go.
was Bonds. So
I'd be like, I want a never-ending box of blunts on set. You know what I mean?
And a
Like,
roller. Dan, you're hired.
I'm surprised. Doesn't Schwarzenegger have something like that too? You can just have
That's what I was
cigars
saying.
whenever. I know he's a huge cigar fan, and he would always
Yeah.
want characters of his to be smoking cigars.
He had to
I
have.
I wouldn't doubt it at all. I'm sure there's a lot that we don't even know about that hasn't like leaked out there that we'll probably find out years from now. But I mean, I guess especially with certain people, you get to a certain level where your value is high enough that you can literally ask for whatever you want. And if they really want you that much, they're gonna put it in there.
If you had like unlimited whatever you wanted to do for a set, like what would you have to have in the contract for a movie for yourself?
Sour cream and onion flavored Pringles.
That's it, dude. That's all you need.
That's specific.
Okay.
This actually goes with the next question we were gonna ask was like
Oh,
if you were
okay.
to have an unorthodox stipulation in your contracts, what would it be? And I mean, for me, I feel if I was gonna go like food related, it'll have to be like unlimited of my favorites, like pizza, fries, pastelitos, all of my favorites have to be there at all times, ready to be freshly cooked. I don't want it sitting there for 4 hours. Have a chef on hand just for any time. Pastelito me, and then they're ready to like
Just put
prepare
your
it and
hand
give it
down,
to
he
me.
throws it
I
to
would
you.
I would hire
Bah.
Pete's Meats. That's what I would do. Every movie I was on, you have to hire Pete's Meats, and he's gotta be there in a
Ooh, the
smoker right
catering.
next to my trailer and just cooking up.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
that. That's a good one.
Pete's
I
got some good meats.
also might just get a chinchilla. Just sit there and pet it. In between
I would
takes. Get
prefer
ready.
if they do they have access to a Sasquatch? If they could have a Sasquatch on set, that'd be very wonderful for me.
You could play chess with them.
Or a baby elephant. Either one, I'll accept either one.
Ooh, baby elephant would be fun
Oh,
to cuddle
baby
with.
elephant.
Hey, have you ever seen those baby pandas where like somebody's job is to cuddle with the baby pandas?
Oh, them
I wanna
too.
do
We'll
that.
have that. We'll just film at a zoo, and we have to be
Yeah.
able to pet whatever animals we would like to.
Hopefully
These
the
are my
movie's Noah's
comfort
Ark.
animals.
Yeah, my comfort tiger over there.
It's
This is my
emotional
bad mood
distress.
gorilla when I'm in a bad mood.
I want the tiger to come to me and respond every time I yell by the power of Grayskull. I want him to.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
this cue to come to me.
Power of Grayskull.
I would also have in my contract to have one incompetent person for me to yell at constantly whenever I'm upset. I'm like, I need somebody incompetent that I can yell at when I feel bad. Come here.
Does it pay?
And here he is. He's right here. I will yell at Jameson.
There we go.
There he goes. And he's gonna get a bloated salary. It's like 500,000 for the production.
Candyman, Todd. What's his name?
Oh,
Tony Todd or something?
yes. Yeah, I think so. I think that's it.
So he put it in his contract where he would get either $1,000 or like $10,000 for every bee sting that he would get on set, and he ended up making a whole bunch of money off of that. And they didn't think anything of it. They thought the bees would not be able to sting him or anything like that. But he got stung a bunch of times. He made a ton of money. I'm like, that's a smart thing to have on your contract.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're putting bees in your mouth as part of the filming, it's like, okay, yes, put that in there.
Yeah, you've earned it. They always try to give you like a lump sum, but if you just take it on the back end like that, way smarter, man.
Yeah, you start going off set. You have your own little bee keep in your trailer to get yourself stung some extra. But like, oh, I forgot about these. Look at these.
Do you have a good? Hey, does anybody got a good bee guy? Sneak him into my trailer, and he makes some extra cash.
What's on the queue? What's a movie that you want to recommend where an actor had crazy demands?
We mentioned Tom Cruise, and we have the new one coming out. So I'm gonna say Mission Impossible. Go through the whole series. Skip 2.
I would suggest The Flash that just came out, and go see some Michael Keaton come back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna see it for a second time today, I think.
Good. I'm going to. I'm going to see it for the first time. Since we talked about Uma Thurman, let's go Kill Bill. Watch Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Awesome movie. Let's hear crazy demands.
I think she had put in her contract there that she was allowed to actually kill people.
I think that's already implied, but yeah, she made sure to get into fine detail. Whoever Bill is definitely got murdered on that set.
I would have wanted to have kept the katana sword she was using.
Yeah, man.
That would have been
Yeah, it's priceless.
They don't make them anymore.
Yeah. So on that note, thank you for watching another episode of Not a Strong Start. You can like, subscribe, comment, share on our YouTube channel, Not a Strong Start. You can listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, Not a Strong Start. I'm your host, Blue M&Ms. You can follow me at King_Sangre.
I'm not your host. Where's my trailer? And you can find me at This Is Me Nombre on Instagram.
I am Nicolas Cage's octopus friend, and you can find me at Twin Pines Video and on the Movie Stash that I do with Augustino Zoida.
Woo! Please give them a follow, give them a like, do all that good stuff. Hook them up.